Hi, listeners. This is Deborah from Mystic Wolf SOULCRAFTS, and I'm here with Mena today from Honing Your Reality. She's been on the podcast in the past, and she's back to talk about the Lion's Gate a little bit. Welcome, everyone, to Mystical Tea Time, where we drink tea and talk about all things ascension and spirituality. Today we're going to be talking about the Lion's Gate, like I just said, and this episode is titled The Lion's Gate Portal, a time of accelerated awakening, creative input from the universe, and how to release soul PTSD, post-traumatic stress basically, that our soul is carrying, and collective trauma shedding. For those of you who know me, welcome back. For those of you who are new, my name is Deborah, and I'm a multi-dimensional channel, a healer, intuitive artist, and a writer. If you want to stay up to date on all the podcast episodes, make sure to go to anchor.fm/mysticalteatime. There you can find all available podcast links, such as Spotify, all kinds of podcast links, or just listen by subscribing on YouTube. So let's get started. Okay. So let's get started, maybe.
Let's get started.
Okay, so what tea are you drinking today? Do you have
Today I have a jasmine green tea.
Aha, interesting. I had a jasmine green tea a few days ago. I think yesterday I had a jasmine green tea. I'm drinking hibiscus tea right now.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, it's from this store, this little store that I go to, and they have all the herbs and the teas and all kinds of stuff in bulk, and you just like,
Oh yeah.
it's all super fresh and organic. So that's where I usually get my tea.
We have a shop like that that's here, but I've only gone one time because it's so pricey.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's something for another episode. I feel we should talk about healthy food for the spiritual person, and where to buy your healthy foods and supplements.
You know what's not healthy food for spiritual people? Sour Patch Kids.
But that's the thing, we live in duality, so sometimes we're gonna eat something that's not that good for us, and we just have to accept that, I guess.
I've been doing so good with the sugar, but I do like a lot of sugar. Like, I was hiding this whole Red Vines tub under my desk for so long and just eating that like it was my lunch or anything. Oh my God, so much licorice. Until one day I said, okay, if I take a bite of this and I swallow it and my stomach starts to instantly hurt, I'm not going to eat licorice anymore. And of course it did. Because if you ask, you know.
Yeah.
You're gonna find out. You're gonna find out exactly what your body wants and doesn't want.
Yeah, it's like when I did the Archangel Michael class a few years ago. One module of the course was about healthy food for your body in order to become a clear vessel for spirit to work through. And the one module was about asking Archangel Michael to let you know which foods you shouldn't eat, or what is good for you and what isn't good for you. And it really works when you ask Archangel Michael or any like energies that you work with, like, show me what I should not be eating, show me what I should be eating, and you listen to the intuition. Then it's just because we sometimes just don't want to listen, I think.
Yeah.
But we actually always know what's good for us.
When you know that it works too, like that you get instant feedback like that, then you also like sometimes don't want to ask because you're just like, I just want to eat these Sour Patch Kids tonight and I don't want to think about how it's going to make me feel in the morning. Because sometimes when I eat a lot of sugar, I feel like hungover, like I drank alcohol.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people feel like that and they just ignore it and they say like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night because of blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times it's something so simple that we're doing to ourselves that we can stop doing.
Yeah, and that's a part of I think also because now with all the energies, the crazy energies that are coming our way from the Lion's Gate, a lot of people feel fried almost because of all these energies, like energetically fried, because it's a lot of stuff to take in. And if you're like us, you know what's going on. We're intuitive, and we're like up to date on all the astrology stuff. We kind of know what's happening, but like most people have no idea what's going on. Most people aren't even aware of when the full moon happens or when the new moon happens. They're not like dealing with any of that stuff, but we keep tabs on all that stuff, so we know.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that when there's a lot of crazy energy flying around, we try to numb ourselves sometimes with sugar. But then
Yeah.
I try to be aware of it, and I try to think of, okay, what else can I do that would like we try to ground ourselves, I think, a little bit with dense foods and unhealthy, heavier foods. But that's not the best
Yeah.
way to do that. So then I try to be like, okay, we have all these crazy energies flying around, and it's starting to be a bit much for me. What can I do to slow this down a little bit, to allow some space to integrate these energies? So then I took the dog to the forest for a walk, stuff like that. I go on a bike ride, or I just try to craft, do some kind of crafting or cooking, and stuff like that, like healthy cooking, not junk food. Yeah, but I'm not
When we
gonna.
were in the river, it was so relaxing, and that's like that can replace like so many things when you go into nature.
Yeah,
And just just no phones. Like that was the best part about today when we took Marcus out for his birthday. None of us could bring our phone because we were going into the water.
yeah.
And even I think I took one picture video of him, and it's his birthday. Normally we take so many pictures and we're like trying to capture like all this stuff for our memory or whatever. And I didn't get any, like, not even one picture of us at the river. And I was kind of like struggling with that, but at the same time I was like, no, this is good. This is good. Because in the past, before I was like all addicted to taking pictures with my cell phone and like videoing everything, I never was like that,
Yeah,
It's not something that I need when you think about it.
it's a lesson too, to be more present in the moment. Well, I can hear myself kind of in the background echoing over there.
Oh, on your microphone?
Yeah, I hear myself over there out of your speaker.
Oh, how funny.
Yeah.
Is there a way I can stop it? Is it bothering you?
No, but maybe for the recording it's gonna be a little bit annoying after a while for people listening. I don't know. If you turn the volume down a little bit, maybe it'll make a little bit of a difference.
Is that better?
Let me see. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, like when you can't take your phone somewhere, then you're not like thinking, oh, I can post this later, I can post this later. You're in the moment, you're just experiencing the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been like kind of like going back and forth about social media lately, like a lot, especially Facebook. I love it so much because of the connection that it's given me to people, but I'm having one of those little mini crises where I start looking at it as something I need to cut out of my life.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people are. Oh, there I am. I'm back with the echo. I don't know what's different compared to last time we recorded, but well, it's now I'm gone. Okay, I don't know. Anyway, what was I saying about the Facebook stuff? A lot of people, I've been reading that online, people posting, I'm gonna delete my page. If you want to follow me here and there, but they're gonna delete their Facebook page. I think it's because all this stuff that's happening in the world too, and everyone is expressing their opinion online, and everyone is getting triggered. And that's
Right.
I pulled cards yesterday for Instagram, and one of the cards was releasing old stuff, like stuff
Right.
we need to
I
release.
saw it. I watched that actually today, and it was so Like, it was so spot on, and your message was so clear and wonderful that it made me like want to take a nap.
Yeah, because you're probably
you, like, bring in like a lot of information. You just like want to take a nap afterwards.
yeah. I know that after this call, I'm gonna feel like really like energized but tired at the same time because we're integrating a lot of stuff while we're talking. We're like passing energy back and forth and information, and then we have to integrate.
Yeah. Even if we don't say like a whole sentence or finish our thought, it's a lot.
Yeah, and the thing is, people.
Oh my god. Remember I was asking you if you read this book, The Sophia Code?
Yeah.
Okay. This book, I think the author's name is Kaya Ra.
Yeah.
It's Kaia. Anyways. Oh my god. That book, I can barely read 3 pages without taking a nap.
Yeah, because it's probably got a lot of information. I know. I've listened to a podcast once with her, the author, on Carrie Murphy. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Carrie Murphy's podcast, Straight Talk for the Soul. That's what it's called. Yeah, I follow her on Instagram, and she had the author on once, and it was really interesting. And I remember mentally putting that book on my wish list. My mental wish list of books that I needed to read. I still haven't read it, but it's on my Audible list right now, so I'm gonna listen to it one of these months coming up. So yeah.
I was recommended by Sarah Nicole, and I just like, I don't know, when she recommended it, I was just like, oh, okay, I buy a lot of books and then I don't read them, you know, like, I don't know why I do it, or I read like half the book and then I just put it on the shelf and forget about it.
Yeah.
But when I got this book, I was like, oh my god, like the introduction just had me so like in its grips, and I literally said, oh, I'm gonna read this book so fast. I'm gonna read this book in like as fast as I possibly can, even though it recommends that you like take like 2 days to integrate after you read like certain parts. Anyways, I haven't even gotten through like the introduction part. That's how heavy just the introduction is. I mean, it's like chapter 5, but it's still like an explanation of the key codes and all this stuff, and I'm just like,
well, yeah. If you feel like you need time in between, then you have to allow yourself that time, because otherwise you're just gonna fry your energy body, basically.
Yeah. We don't want to do that.
No, and especially now with the Lionsgate, because there's already so much energy flying around, you don't want to add to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say that I love it when babies pull on my hair.
Yeah, for those, because we can see each other, but the people listening can't see that I have my baby here with me and he's pulling my hair. He's always somewhere around when I'm doing podcasts. He's somewhere.
So, I was wanting to ask you about the Lionsgate, because I've been reading, and like I heard you talk about it on your Instagram, but this is really the first time that I have been aware of it, even though, like I shared with you before, just in message, that like the 8th is kind of like was a monumental day for me in 2015.
Yeah.
But I never knew about Lionsgate before.
Yeah, I didn't know until
but even from an astrology point of view, I never like latched onto it.
Yeah. I learned about Lionsgate I think 3 years ago, and it's because I was feeling all kinds of like, I felt that there was something going on and that there was something influencing me, but in a positive way, like all the good stuff that was happening in my life got accelerated, and like I got a bunch of ideas and downloads, and I was just wondering like what's going on. Something, the baby's saying something's going on too, so something was going on, and I wanted to know what was going on exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and I started looking online, and then I found all the information about Lionsgate, and that's around the time when I was learning more about Sirius and star seeds in general. And that's when I learned that as a starseed, I had connections to Sirius. So I wasn't surprised at all that this was influencing me in such a positive way. Hmm? Oh, he's yawning. I think he's ready for a nap. So what were we saying about the Lionsgate? Yeah, that you didn't know about Lionsgate. And then I was saying 3 years ago I found out, yeah, because I was like going through this whole spiritual reawakening, that I was learning about all kinds of new concepts, and that's when I started to learn more about Sirius, and it all made such sense, like perfect sense to me. I'm like, of course there's all kinds of stuff going on, because I'm feeling all this stuff, and then I go and read about it online, and it was all just confirmation of all the stuff that I was feeling, basically, that was going on, like energetically. And then I started reading, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised I'm feeling this and this and this, and I have all these creative ideas. So that's why for me Lionsgate is a period of like creative downloads and stuff. And I think a lot of people have that even when you're not creative, because of course I craft and I paint and all, and I write, and you write, so you'll probably notice that you have way more creative input right now, or no?
Yeah, right now I feel like I'm in the zone, like constantly in the zone.
Yeah, that
be kind of challenging, because like I'm turning on, like, not on purpose, everything that I do feels like it's so serious right now, because I'm
serious.
so focused on creating like this big, I don't know what, but like someone will say something, and then all of a sudden I'm like talking about prayer and this, like I can't get away from talking about like seeing the world through a more creative, spiritual lens.
Yeah. It's true, yeah, because I think for a lot of, like,
kind of stop conversation really fast, I feel like.
Because you don't, you probably feel like you just don't have time for like just chit chat about stupid, like not stupid, but like small talk.
No, like, yeah, small talk.
Because you're all like, I'm here.
Today he was like, not everything has to be about that, or I don't even remember how he said it, but I'm like, it does. It really does right now. I'm not saying that there's a time span. I'm just saying I feel really pressured, but I'm also trying to relax. And I think that a lot of people, even when they don't know how they're feeling, feel like that.
Yeah.
So they feel like they're like pressured to move forward on something, pressure like to move and to act and to do something, but we don't exactly know what the right thing is to do right now. And so it's creating a lot of frustration and a lot of, like, I know we were talking about in our group the releasing of the full moon, since the full moon is coming, what are we trying to release? And it feels like we're doing like the same thing that we were doing the beginning of, at least for me, at the beginning of July. Like I'm kind of like, oh yeah, revisiting, having to let go of anger and of wanting validation and of wanting to be right all the time, and of just like accepting and being more compassionate. Like these are always things that I've been working on, but it feels like I was working on them a lot at the beginning of the month, and then I saw like these little pockets, these little breakthroughs, these little amazing moments, like the last time we talked, it was just before the last full moon, and like that was great. That was like a really like up emotional time for me, and it stayed that way, but I kept having these little like ups and downs, like really dramatic ups and downs, and it feels like this 1 month was a really, really long time. And now I'm kind of seeing like the progress that I did make or didn't make in trying to release aggression and just being like kind of like over the top in people's faces. And I did let it go, but then I saw like the opposite of me, like little flares.
Yeah.
And I see how it's related to the collective, and I see how my energy and my interactions and my experiences might be different than your exact experiences, but that we're we're experiencing something very similar, which is like trying to let all of this out, all of this old aggression, old, strict, hidden bullshit, you know? And when you don't know why you're doing it, when you don't know why you're acting out or why you're, you know, having such a hard time, so much frustration, whether it's you think it's because of a mask, or you think it's because you're sitting at home, or you think it's because maybe you don't have the job that you really want, or whatever you think it is. It's just this like deep, like you were saying in your post, past life PTSD. I loved that. Like, you know, that was just amazing. When you said that, I resonated with it instantly. Like, it shook a chord in me that, like, I was like, that's the loosening. That's right there. I can feel it loosening.
Yeah.
And like this book, the Sophia Code, is all about like when you start healing for yourself, you start healing for all. And that's like, that was like a belief that I held already. So when I read it in that book, it was just so, it was so validating that the work that we do for the collective is so important. And the more people that kind of get on the page of helping, just to help humanity, just for the good of all, the more we're going to see the quickening.
Yeah, that's what came to me too yesterday when I was pulling the cards for Instagram. Let me just quickly go grab the cards. I still have them. Yeah, so the cards that I pulled for Instagram are: what do you need to release? The prosperity lies ahead, and look at the bigger picture. And I thought those cards were so good for like, there's no better way to describe what's going on right now than these three cards. Especially, what do you need to release? I spent a lot of time talking about this card because we all have stuff that we're holding on to subconsciously that we just have to let go of, that it's not helping us in any way. We need to just get rid of it. We need to just say, this does not help me. I'm surrendering this. Yeah, you wrote something the other day online about I fully release this or this or this, and I just don't need it anymore. Here, Spirit, take this away from me and transmute it into something else, because I don't need this. Basically. Yeah.
You know, at the last full moon, I'm like, as a spiritual person, you know how I was just pointing out that I was eating some Sour Patch Kids. Well, I used to also smoke cigarettes, and on the last full moon, I released that. And let me tell you, for anybody out there who's listening who might have an issue with nicotine or anything, I don't know if it is, if it was all of it. It was the ritual that I did. It was the writing it down and believing it. It was calling in Archangel Raphael to help me take all of the side effects of quitting smoking, and just gave it to him. And every time I would have like a little tiny twinge of thinking about a cigarette, I would just repeat, you know, thank you, Archangel Raphael, for taking all of the side effects from smoking from me and bearing that, so that I can feel all the blessings of quitting smoking. And that's all that I have felt in 1 month. Like, I smoked since I was 16 years old, and I have quit several times. You know, like every time I had a baby, I quit. And then there was a time where I quit for 4 years because it just became like not important to me. But between 2015 and like just a month ago, I was smoking like at least 7 cigarettes a day, which might not sound like a lot to a smoker, but to me it was. And it was affecting my throat chakra. It was affecting the way I slept. It was affecting my brain, because when you really think about, you know, when you're putting smoke into your body, it takes the oxygen out of your blood. And like, some people don't even recognize how significant that little like thing is. Because I know a lot of people vaping now, like they're all into like those vape cigarettes, like that's not a big deal. But the nicotine really affects the blood flow and the way that we think and how we can channel. And I think that it's also a cover-up for some people, and I know it was for me. You know, like sometimes you think you can't handle all the downloads.
Yeah, it's like with the sugar. Yeah, like you said, with the sugar, then you're using it to numb yourself. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
so now I guess I have to release sugar. Damn it.
Or just like try to consume it in moderation.
Yeah. Well, I haven't had sugar in a long time, but since it was Marcus's birthday, we got a bunch of junk food.
Yeah, well, but that's an exception because you know, okay, I'm not doing this every day. This is an exceptional situation. Because if you go too extreme, that's been my experience anyway, and you're like, I'm never eating sugar again, then you're gonna do that for a
Right.
couple of weeks or months, and then you're gonna binge out on candy and get sick.
Yeah, like the first time that you like something like doesn't go your way, you're just like, oh my god, where's the sugar?
Yeah, yeah. You just have to kind of be gentle on yourself too in the process of like trying to adapt this new lifestyle or new eating habits. You have to be gentle on yourself too.
Yeah. But yeah, so like releasing addiction is a big thing right now. So like right now the full moon coming up on August 3rd is going to be in the moon will be in Aquarius and the sun will be in Leo. Um Neptune is still in retrograde, and Neptune was doing like so much work, like back and forth with these retrogrades that were happening in Capricorn. I know like me and you have talked about the retrograde Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto over there in Capricorn. So Neptune squaring over to like that and to all these this other action, it really brings up a lot of hidden stuff. Neptune and Pisces, you know, hidden
Yeah,
secrets.
I remember you were telling me all that.
Addiction, things that help us numb out. So Neptune's still, you know, going backwards.
We need to release all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just knowing that like that last full moon, it was so big, you know, it ended the eclipse cycle, and that was in Cancer, you know, the the sign of home and family, and now we're moving on to the moon being in Aquarius, where that's like the sign of the water bearer, the humanitarian, you know, going from, you know, person to person, not spending too much time but helping everybody, you know, that's where the moon is. So that's where our karmic emotional state is right now during this full moon. So that's why I'm kind of like just on an intuitive sense feeling like the stuff that we released and that we worked on at the beginning of this eclipse cycle, now that with our first full moon here being in, you know, the sun, like if we're talking about the natural zodiac and Aquarius is in the 11th house, then that's the sign of community. And during this full moon also we're having the Venus conjunct the North Node in Gemini. So that's another kind of like strong relationship tie, thinking about how we're communicating with people now, and having the North Node there is like showing us like this is where we're going, you know, not meant to stay still and not evolve. We have to reach further and find these new ways of communicating with people and finding common grounds for the good of all, you know. So we're kind of like releasing now for all, not just for the you know, for the individual, even though that's where we're starting. We have to start there. We have to say, I'm working on my addictions or I'm working on my anger. Those are the two things, me personally, that I'm working on. Mm-hmm. And how does that help heal the collective at the same time? If I can conquer something like, you know, cigarette addiction or sugar, you know, limiting or whatever it happens to be, like how does that really truly help everybody on the same scale energetically, whether they know it or not?
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of this book, Reality Transurfing. It's basically it speaks of pendulums. It's like what you send energy out there, like you're quitting smoking, and you have this energy, and if that is the dominant energy, like in your surroundings, then your energy is basically gonna determine the energy of everyone, and everyone that is open to improving themselves or quitting smoking will catch up on your energy. And you create some kind of pendulum. You create like a momentum, like Abraham Hicks calls it momentum, basically. And all these people, like you send the energy out there of I'm healthy, I'm not smoking, I'm nicotine free. You're sending that out there. People are picking up on it, and it might like trigger them to do the same. Even they may not realize it, but it's easier for them to quit smoking because you're sending the energy out there. So,
Yeah.
and I think too, with this Lionsgate happening, that more people are getting downloads, even subconsciously. And for the people that don't know what I mean with downloads, like you're getting inspiration, ideas, all of a sudden out of nowhere you get this idea and you're like, oh, I have no idea where that came from, but that's a really good idea. And you're getting a lot of
Yeah.
them, and like one after the other. And that's happening with the Lionsgate for a lot of people. And that's why the second card that I pulled for my reading yesterday, Prosperity Lies Ahead, I feel like all the ideas that we're gonna try now, all these this inspiration, creative endeavors, whatever, or just stuff that we want to try and we've been hesitant, it's gonna work out and it's gonna have a really good outcome if we do it now. And because we're releasing all this stuff, because we're letting go of all the stuff we don't need, then we're gonna just carry that really positive momentum along, and it's going to increase and increase and increase. And so I think anything we try now is going to work out for the good of all too, like you said, because everyone is working on their own positive, like their own ideas, and everyone is picking up on each other's positive vibe basically. And you can see it too in the world news with the protests for the children, like Save the Children protests everywhere. People are protesting, like they're protesting in Phoenix. They've been protesting in all kinds of places all over the US and Europe. And like all these hotspots of energy are meeting somewhere in the ethers. Yeah. All these hotspots are meeting basically and creating a bigger momentum collectively. And that's why this third card that I pulled, Look at the Bigger Picture, it's like all this stuff is coming up, all this stuff that the world needs to release is coming up. And it's beautiful how these cards again represent what's going on in the stars, like all the stuff that you just said about the astrology is coming back in these cards that I pulled, or like just downloads that we've all been receiving. It's all connected. It's all just so beautifully connected.
I was watching this video. I want to say that the guy was named on Instagram Huna Flash. He's like something about water from New Zealand. He's like, I didn't look enough to know anything about him, but I just caught this like quick video of his, and he was saying something about how time runs, clockwise, but the universe runs counterclockwise. And I had just written that down on a piece of paper like a few hours before. And I was just like, yeah, the downloads are coming so like a blanket across the world, and some transmitters are picking it up and being able to say exactly what they're getting. And I had like drawn even a little picture of like I think I put it on on my story, like these like circles in clockwise. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, that is like a freaking metaphor right there for how we're working against the universe in our whole entire life. Like everything that we do, what we base our days off of, is working against the universe. And like, for some people like myself that don't exactly believe in linear time as the only definition of time, it kind of just makes me laugh. But then if you tell somebody else like, oh no, like time doesn't exist, and if you think about the clock moving the opposite way of the universe, doesn't that make you feel like innately like we're doing something wrong?
Yeah,
that's how it makes me feel.
I actually started recording a video last week, like part of it, but then I got too fried from the energy and I stopped. And I'm gonna finish it later. That's what I do sometimes. I'll like record little parts of videos and then later edit it into one larger video about past and parallel lives and future lives, and how linear time doesn't really exist. And I'm gonna talk about that in another video or another podcast episode. I'm gonna do a Q&A or something about that, because I know that a lot of people have questions about that. But basically linear time is something that we've created to cope with our life on in this dimension, and also to it's kind of like a folder for all kinds of files. So you have some kind of like a system to stay organized and have some kind of overview of what all the stuff is you're doing in this lifetime, or in your all kinds of lifetimes together. You have to have some kind of filing system, and that's what the linear timeline is basically. Because if you wouldn't have the linear timeline, you just have like a desk with files scattered all over, and you like that's basically and some people like you and me, we can go like, oh, there's a file right there, I need this and this and this, and but most people will freak out and be like, no, I have no idea what's going on, I need some kind of filing system. And that's what the linear time is. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about that more, and that's a good thing to mention in my other video too, this filing system. I have to remember that.
So I never I don't know where I got this from. I can't remember if I made this meditation up or if I followed it from somewhere, but you know, when you're first kind of awakening and you're getting all these like memories and stuff from your past, and you can't like really like function with all the stuff that's coming into you. So I did this meditation, and I was just walking. Actually, it was a really great movement meditation, because you could go ahead and process all the stuff that you're thinking about your life, but you're out in nature and you're moving your body, so you're not just like reacting to everything that you're remembering, right? And I started telling myself, like my subconscious, like my higher self was directing my subconscious, like, go ahead and take all of those files from, like, let's just say elementary school, right? And put them in a file. Like, I was picturing myself going around in my brain and picking up all these files. Like, you're probably never going to need that. Like, just go ahead and, like, you know, get rid of it. Just literally get rid of it. And so after I did a lot of that work, people would say, do you remember blah, 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 blah? And I would say, oh, no, I think I might have filed that out. But, like, it's very, like, if you could... I want to say that I didn't see that anywhere, but that I just kind of like told myself that's what I needed to do, because I had all this, like, even like trauma coming up, remembering trauma. And I'd be like, you know what, that's really important, like, to remember and to have as something that I can emotionally connect to so I can help others, but I don't need it popping up in my day-to-day life anymore. You know, like, I acknowledge it. I acknowledge that that is. So can you just put it in this, like, place where I can go easily grab it? But just organize all this information in my head and all this stuff. And I did it, like, so many times to the point where I had space in my brain for these other type of downloads. And yeah, I don't know. I always try to, like, remember to suggest that to people, but I don't know if it sounds, like, too crazy. I don't know what it sounds like, yes. Like, if you told someone that, like, oh, okay,
Yeah, I actually,
it's like a book. Like, you say you're going to read it, and then you don't finish the book. Sometimes people don't finish filing.
It's funny that you brought up, like, filing something in your brain, because I actually, a few weeks ago, I wrote about that in my book that I'm writing about spiritual mothering. I'm writing a book called Spiritual Mothering, for those who don't know. And I actually wrote a paragraph about stuff that happened to us when we were children, and how we filed it in our memory bank somewhere, like, in the shelf really far away. And it's okay, because you don't want to deal with it every day, and it's good to file it. But then it's when you get like, you have your own kids, suddenly all this stuff is gonna start popping up, because it's gonna re-trigger some trauma, like childhood trauma. Becoming a parent triggers all kinds of childhood trauma, I feel. And then you have to go back into the memory banks and get that file out of the shelf and deal with it and look at it.
Yeah.
And then you can put it in the archive or something, because you've dealt with it, and you can put it in this other file, this other shelf over there that's archived stuff that's been dealt with, basically. Yeah, I wrote about that, so it's funny that you bring up the shelving, the filing system in the brain.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, like, that just goes to show you how the ideas kind of, like, come down And like I always say, like blankets the earth, and then some of us pick it up and some of us just are too busy or too distracted.
I kind of envision it like the library from the Beauty and the Beast. There's this library, like she has this really gigantic library with a super tall ladder, and that's kind of what I like. That's the image I get when I think about the memory bank in the brain and the library with all the files. You go up on your ladder and go and put that stuff away really up top where you don't go, like you don't need to get it every day, so you put it away where you won't be able to reach it. But yeah, that's funny.
I think it's so important too to open the space in your brain to use those connections for the present and for like going into making things better for the future. But it's very, very toxic to live in your past memories. It's really all consuming. If any, like I've been kind of like on the border of depression most of my adult life for sure. Probably, heck, you know what? I never even know when I'm depressed. I have to be undepressed to know that I was actually depressed. Like every time I'm like, I'll wake up a little bit more and be like, oh wow, I was acting weird for a few weeks or something, But that really comes from us like trying to think too much about the past and fix things about the past, and then that really takes us back to like some of the little arguments and the weird stuff that we do isn't even from this lifetime, so come on.
And that's when we get back to the soul PTSD part. Like our soul has post-traumatic stress, and most people have no idea that they have post-traumatic stress from past lives. Like in my case, I started like when I was reawakening again a few years ago. It happened kind of in a shock. I was kind of just shocked by it because my spirit guides were like, okay, we're done trying to do this gently because you're just doing your own thing, and we can't have that anymore. We're just gonna blast you with all these past life memories. You're just gonna have all kinds of like, imagine like what's her name, the one that was the clairvoyant one in Charmed. She got all the visions. Like I basically,
I've never seen Charmed.
Yeah, there's one of the three sisters, and she has visions all the time, and it's not really reality. That's not how clairvoyancy. It's not how it really works. But for me, it was like that for a little while. For a few months, I had all these visions of past lives, and it was super vivid, and I just got blasted with them. And and then I started putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and I got this whole like timeline. I know we just said that we weren't doing the linear timeline thing, but I tried back then. I was still trying to put it all on some kind of linear timeline, all these lifetimes that I could remember, and
trying to make it sense.
Trying to make sense of it for myself. And I could see how they were influencing my behavior in this lifetime, and how some of the things that had happened to me when I was a child, how they could all be like linked to past lives. Like as a child, I was super scared of swimming, of jumping in the water. And I remember we went swimming with school, and I had to jump from the edge, like in the pool. And it wasn't even that, it was like 6 feet or something. It wasn't super deep, but I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed, and nobody could get me to jump in the water. I was paralyzed. I was just standing there, and I was screaming, and I was frozen to the ground. I couldn't jump. And then I saw a lifetime of myself during the Inquisition, where I had to walk on a bridge, and they put a heavy chain around my foot or my feet, and I had to jump in the water below the bridge because I was being trialed for being a witch, and I had to jump. So then I was like, oh my God, that's why I was afraid to jump in the pool, because my soul was remembering, if you jump in this water, you're gonna die. But of course we're not. Right. I wasn't gonna die in the pool, of course, but my soul didn't know that. So that's stuff like that, and also like all these light. That's why you were saying we have we want to get all this stuff done. We have all this energy. We have all these ideas, but at the same time, it's a lot to integrate, and we want to numb ourselves because our soul is remembering bad experiences from past lives. like where we did speak up about our gifts, we spoke up about our intuition, we spoke up about our truth. But what would happen in past lives, we would get mocked, we would get ridiculed, we would be outcasts. We would, like, our society would basically like make us an outcast. We were killed. We were like, and our soul remembers. Like now, you and I are talking. I'm gonna air this podcast later. I'm gonna share it on all kinds of social media. But that it was a big process for me to get to the point where I was comfortable with sharing all these ideas, and I had to work through a lot of past life soul PTSD, basically the soul post-traumatic stress, because I didn't understand that this fear of speaking up was linked to being killed in several past lives, or being mocked, or and once you understand, you can also, like you said, call upon archangels. Working with Archangel Michael has been such has meant the biggest difference, I think, in my spiritual life or experience, because of his help. Archangel Michael, I say he, but it's an entity, it's an energetic frequency. But most people can more easily relate to angels or archangels when they say him or she or something, whatever works to create the connection. So for me, that's really been helpful, because Archangel Michael stands for truth and basically cutting cords with all the stuff that you need to release, like this card here is saying that I have. What do you need to release? So you can call upon Archangel Michael and just say, okay, you can have a conversation with him. It doesn't have to be all official. Like, you can just have some kind of casual conversation and be like, okay, Archangel Michael, look, I need your help, and I have this and this and this and this that's popping up, and I need to get rid of it. This isn't helping me. I'm trying to put myself out there. I'm trying to spread a message. I'm trying to be of service. I'm trying to help people, but this is standing in my way, and this is standing in my way. I'm afraid that I'm gonna get mocked, which is ridiculous, because what is the worst thing that could happen to me? Nobody's gonna kill me in this lifetime. Somebody could disagree with me. Oh well, okay. You're not gonna... And that's also not the point. You don't want everyone to agree with you. You want to put your message out there so that the people that do resonate can find you. You don't want everyone to agree with you, because everyone's on their own individual journey anyway, and those that are resonating with you will find you. And that was kind of went on a tangent there anyway.
No, that was a good tangent, because I mean, as you were talking, I was thinking about, like, when you do release stuff, you start releasing, you have that other layer of finding your tribe, or finding the people that understand you, or finding the people that want to learn more. Like, every step of the way, when we release more, we get more space, and we get those downloads, we speak a little bit more clearly, we get a little bit more excited, and then you kind of get like that, like, turn back, like, oh no, I thought you were gonna come with me, and it can be kind of a bummer too when you have that alignment really start happening in your life, and it's not just an alignment, but it's a shedding. So you have, like, the full moon. Whenever I think of the full moon, I always think of shedding a layer.
I feel like in this call, we keep coming back to this card. We keep coming back to what we need to release, and I feel like ever since we did the last podcast, this has been a really strong theme, the releasing. And connected to this too, like, look at the bigger picture. This other card that I pulled, look at the bigger picture. Like, we're all releasing individually. Like you said, it starts with us individually, but all these people releasing their individual stuff, they're all meeting in the ethers. The energies are all meeting, and that's when the collective shedding and releasing can begin. And we're seeing that now. We're seeing that now in all these protests and all this stuff that is coming up, in all kinds of stuff. And also this virus, even, the COVID-19, it's like a massive release of some kind of like stuff that needs to be released, and it's opening a lot of people's eyes about, yeah, people are diving into all kinds of rabbit holes of truths that need to be exposed, that they otherwise they would never have done this. They would have never started looking for more truth, because now everyone's at home. You can't go out. You have to wear masks everywhere. So people are like, well, I'm not dealing with that. I'm staying home. So more people are staying home, and they're reading more. They're absorbing more information. Yeah.
I know that I'm just like, I am using my time to look up a lot of new things too. It's really interesting, like, how much information you can get from, like, doing your own little bit of research. And a lot of it comes from, like, wanting to not post something that's not real on Facebook or on Instagram. And that's one of the things that I actually don't like about it anymore, is because it's personal opinion, right? Or it's like sharing your personal opinion. But a lot of the sharing that's happening is like sharing of somebody else finding something and not knowing if that's true, and like just how it perpetuates the falseness, and the creating a joke out of everything. And I don't know, like, everybody has their own set of friends, right, on Facebook, and they see and there's a set of groups that they're involved in, so they see like whatever gets put on their feed basically by the algorithms, which is something that's crazy, you know. Even when you try so hard to keep your feed like clean and positive and stuff that you just really want to see that brightens your day, that always somehow like sneaks in something that's either triggering or I don't know, a little too businessy, I guess, with the Facebook and all the ads that they put up now. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why I'm going on that tangent. I have something against social media lately.
Well, I actually deactivated my Facebook. I've deactivated it a few times in the past. I would like go on these anti-social media I would have these phases where I'd be like, okay, I'm deactivating Facebook, bye everyone, you can email me. And then a few months later I would reactivate Facebook, but then it would happen again a few months later. So now what I did is like when I add new friends, or like everyone that I have on Facebook, I instantly unfollow them, so that my feed is basically just Facebook pages that I follow with inspiring messages, with like stuff that I want to see. And then once a week or something, I'll go in my friends list and be like, oh, okay, this and this and this person, let me go check on their profile and see what they've been up to. And then when I'm in the right mindset, I can go and look at what they're doing in their life. But I don't have to see it every day on my news feed. When I'm just waking up and drinking a coffee or something. That's what I did, and I found that is an easier way for me to deal with Facebook.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good tip there for me, and maybe for a lot of other people, because I know how distracting and upsetting social media can be for some people. Like, it's not so much upsetting for me, but I know people that get upset from it. It's like this silent problem that we're all talking about, but nobody wants to like take the actual move and say like, no, this is actually kind of a breeding ground for negativity and distraction. That's the biggest thing. I think it is that we spend so much time, whatever we do personally on Facebook, we spend a lot of time doing it. And like today when I was on the river and I didn't have my phone and I couldn't post anything or think about anybody else, like really that's one of the main things I think for a lot of intuitive and empathic people, is that the more connections we have, the more our minds can be really busy when we're not in taking care of ourselves spiritually, you know? And so a lot of people don't know that. You know, you learned that, I learned that. Probably a lot of women that we know have learned that the hard way, having such busy minds and being overloaded with a bunch of energies. And we think about it like right now with COVID, since we're all home and whatnot, we're having a lot of the physical contact cut down, but we're not having the energy cut down just because we're still on social media, and maybe you're only seeing 20 to 25 people pop up on your feed a day, but that's 20 to 25 energies that you're tapping into. And if you're not conscious of it, if you're not making sure that, you know, you're taking your alone time and saying like, or just like saying all day long, the only voice or the only issues I'm going to deal with are my own. That's the only thing that I accept in my aura at this time, or something along those lines. You can cause yourself a lot of anxiety through Facebook. And I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons that it bothers me, is because people just don't know how it's affecting them.
Yeah, and that's too for the people that follow me on Instagram or my blog on my website. I just posted a blog post about my dog, and some people may know and some may not, but I'm also an animal communicator. And so basically my dog has this habit of sending me these messages, and if I don't want to listen, then he will like take action by doing stuff like he'll run away or something. Like he ran away a few days ago because he was trying to tell me that I needed to calm down, because I was like getting fried from all the energy trying to do 10 or 20 things all at once, and I wasn't giving myself time to ground. I wasn't giving myself time to integrate. So that's when he took off. I was able to, luckily, to get him back in the house. So yeah, for people that are interested in that article, go read that on my website, because it was kind of an adventure. For my dog, he took off, but he luckily didn't run into the street. He stayed on the sidewalk. So yeah, he was just trying to tell me, yeah, Mom, I was never going to run into the street. I'm not an idiot. I'm just trying to get your attention. So yeah, and that made me realize, okay, I need to just stop whatever I'm doing. The rest of the day is canceled. I'm not doing anything else. I need to take a break. I'm gonna take my dog and I'm gonna go for a walk in the forest, and I'm not doing anything else. And until I felt like all the energy was done, like frying me, and I was able to download, like integrate all the downloads, able to ground myself properly, then I was going to do something new, and I was going to take it one step at a time, because I think as intuitives we get all these downloads and it comes so fast. Like we'll have 5 or 6 or 7 ideas in one day, and we want to like get started on all these ideas right away, and that is good, because we feel like we're going to forget them. If we don't act on it quickly, we're going to forget or something. But yeah, we just have to ask help too. Like we can ask our spirit guides, okay, I have all these ideas, but I need time to integrate all these ideas. So I'm asking for assistance, and remind me of these ideas at the right time for me, and also remind me when it is time to take a break. And we have this whole team of light around us, and we don't, like, they're basically like Doreen Virtue. I know she went all Christian and stuff, but I still like the stuff that she put out there before she converted. She said too that all our spirit guides are basically unemployed, and they're waiting for us to give them a job. And that is true, because like they're literally overjoyed. The moment we give them a job, they're super happy. They're like, yes, finally she's giving us something to do. So yeah, we can ask for help in integrating all of this stuff. Ask for help when we need to ground. Give us a sign. Show me what you want me to do. Show me when you need me to take it easy. And in this case, that was my dog. He was showing me, hey, you need to stop right now and take a break.
Yeah, it's cool though, when you do that and you get so comfortable doing it, you can be so specific. Like, can you show me a sign in numbers?
Yeah, the numbers.
Like you can really get specific with your guides.
Yeah.
And it just becomes like your whole life can become a synchronicity in a blink of an eye, you know?
Yeah.
That, I mean, just even since the last full moon, the amount of synchronicities that I've experienced, from meeting this person to meeting this person to going here to this, like everything, like it's just been so overwhelming that yeah, I think I'm on the Lionsgate, which would be Saturday, the 8th, right?
That's when the peak is. Yeah, that's the peak of the Lionsgate. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna drive up to Shasta Mountain.
I wish I could go with you.
I know. I'm just like, okay, so you remember I told you that I moved my daughter up to Chico? So that's like 5 hours north from here. And then Shasta Mountain is just like a little bit past there. So I'm going to go do a mom check.
Yeah.
See how she's doing, and then go up there. And yeah, I'm just like, when I got this Sophia book, I opened it. One of her thank yous, like, you know how author always says thank you, like blah, blah, blah. One of her thank yous is thank you to Shasta Mountain. So when I drove home from Chico, dropping Rylan off, thinking about going back to Shasta on Lionsgate. Get home, the book was in the mail, and I opened it up. And that's
super
like the
synchronicity.
First page, thank yous. And it just said that Shasta Mountain right there, and I just started crying.
Yeah, because it's the universe telling you that you have connections.
You, like all the messages, like I hear it. it. I'm doing what I'm being asked to do as best I can and integrate as best I can and not explode my brain. But sometimes I feel like the synchronicities are so strong. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's probably, if you go there, because Shasta is also linked to Lemuria. So, and basically the remaining, I don't know how familiar you are with the Telos, the like inner Earth city of Lemurians.
I just barely know anything about it.
Yeah.
My aunt and uncle live up there, my grandparents do, and they have talked about it, but like they talk about it as like I don't know, maybe this is true.
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of people that have experiences with the mountain, and like visions and like clairvoyant visions that go there, and their intuition is like super strong, and they get all these messages because there's a strong energy connected to Mount Shasta, and probably when you go there it'll help with the grounding of all the all the downloads that you're integrating, I feel.
Yeah, it's been really heavy, so I think that was just calling to me so strongly for that that moment, that integration moment. And I'm just really excited. I'm kind of nervous, but excited.
Yeah, I feel like, well, Spirit just told me choose a card out of the deck, pull a card for like the people listening, so I'm just gonna do that right now. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. How funny. Weren't you just...
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, so that's the card. That's from the Moonology deck that I just got, the Oracle card deck. And I really like this deck. It's super practical, yeah. It is, because it has just straightforward advice that's practical, and that it resonates. Every time I pull a card, it's just spot on. So balance, spirituality, and practicality. So that's what we're talking about. All this stuff that's coming in, all the spiritual downloads, but we have to be practical about it, because otherwise we're gonna just make ourselves, we're gonna fry our energetic body. Whoa, what's that sound?
Sound air conditioning just came on.
Okay. Yeah, anyway, so that's the card so probably everyone that's listening, you're gonna be able to relate to this card, because I'm sure that you've been getting slammed with downloads, the people that are listening, and most people are intuitives, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to a podcast called Mystical Tea Time if you're not into mysticism. But anyway, so know that you're not alone. Everyone is going through this. We're being slammed with all this Lionsgate stuff. We're all having these great ideas, but be practical about it and give yourself a break every now and then. And take a break, go out into nature, meditate, do some crafting, cooking, walk your dog, I don't know, go on a bike ride, do something grounding in between.
I'm risking my life on rollerblades.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
But it's a good way to be in the moment.
I'm a little bit better than when I fell the first time, but I've never really claimed to be all that coordinated on a set of wheels. But I told myself, like, when I can actually flow on these rollerblades, that's going to be some sort of energetic shift too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good, because then if you, I've thought about that before too, like setting some kind of goal for myself and then linking it to a spiritual goal. Like I do that too sometimes when I'm able to master this or this craft or like skill, then that means that I will have mastered this or this or this spiritual concept, and then like I double check with myself afterwards and I'm like, yeah, that's true, that actually did happen.
Yeah.
I think we all do that with that, like
with
subconsciously.
With the not smoking, it was a throat chakra thing for me for sure.
Yeah.
I knew, like, if I can't stop smoking, then I'm never going to be able to speak, you know? Like, and I talked plenty, just not in public. And so it was like that layer of hiding that the whole act of smoking was for me. So I hope, like, you know, as an energetic shift, that everybody's feeling a little bit of a loosening in their throat chakra.
Yeah, and that's you doing your part for the collective too. You're giving up smoking, and then you're letting your voice be heard, and then people are going to be listening to the podcast. They're going to be listening to the stuff that you put out there on your own social media. They're going to be like, oh, look at how far she's come. I can do the same, and it's a snowball effect.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Oh my God, for some reason it just got super hot in my house, and you were just saying that you were melting in your Instagram video.
Oh my God, yeah, it's better now. It's cool. Yeah, we had some kind of crazy heat wave, and I was in the middle of trying to do this card reading, and I'm just like, oh my God, I'm melting. Is it the energy, or is it just the weather, or is it both combined?
Yeah. Well, you can see this really bad suntan.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah.
Thank God no one else can see it.
But the thing is, you were probably meant to be out in the sun, because now the like Sirius is aligned with the sun and the earth and our planet. It's all aligned. So the sun, because people always like look at the sun as this big bad sun that's gonna give us cancer, but yeah, that's also part of the programming. I'm not saying don't be careful in the sun. Always be careful, like take a break and get out of the sun every now and then, but don't just avoid sunlight, because sunlight carries a bunch of light codes, carries a bunch of frequencies that we need to be healthy physically, emotionally, spiritually. We need to get out in the sun, especially now with this virus. We need to get out in the sun. And it's boosting our immune system. It's giving us all these downloads, and it's healthy for us just in any way you can think of. Sunlight is healthy. But be smart about it. Don't get all sunburned, like extremely sunburned. Right. Yeah, but it doesn't look too bad. You don't look super sunburned.
No, but last weekend when I went to that water ceremony, I went to Long Beach and joined in a water ceremony that was put on by the water priestess. That's her name on Instagram, and it was a really beautiful event. When I got, it was like my personal story getting there. Like, I tried to look for a friend or someone to go with me, because it's like a 4-hour drive, and just going somewhere like in a city, like a bigger city that I've never really been to by myself, was kind of a big deal. And when I first like pulled up and I got out of my car, so I was there, the water ceremony was for human trafficking and, you know, save the children. So it was like, we're going to be doing this whole thing with that in mind, sending the prayers to the cause. And so I get out of my car, and the first thing that happens is this guy running shirtless, you know, because everyone's like out running and jogging and biking at the beach. And he was like, can I get your number? And I'm just like, this is the first experience. Like, I stepped out of my car, waiting on me and trying to get his number. And I'm here for a anti-human trafficking thing, and I'm just like, I knew I shouldn't have come by myself,
Yeah.
and that's just like those little resistance things that start popping up in life. And then I couldn't like find the group that I was supposed to be at, but there was this huge like yoga thing going on, so I just like went up and like put my blanket down and started doing some yoga poses. Just like when we were laying there in meditation, I was like, please God, like when I get up, can you just help me find the group that I'm supposed to be here with and make it easy, like, so that I don't keep getting anxious that I'm in this big city by myself. And then I turn to like the corner and I go down the stairwell, and then I see this gathering of people sitting, and I see this woman walking with this like flowing white dress like from the group. So I'm like, I'm gonna go straight for that woman and ask her, am I in the right spot? And so I did, and she's like, yeah. So I went over there, and then it was just the best day ever. And I got so sunburned because there was like a good chunk of time where we were in a sound bath. And I don't know if you've ever experienced a sound bath, but oh my gosh, it was so relaxing and so beautiful. And I was so deep in it, I don't even know if I could have gotten like up and like moved and gotten myself away from the sun, because I was just like,
Yeah, you kind of lose time.
The didgeridoo was going, and like the didgeridoo was like circling my face with a feather. It was like touching me. I don't know if that really happened, but that's what I felt like happened.
Well, that again goes to show you how linear time is relative, and it's like when you're in meditation, you don't experience time either, I feel. Sometimes when I meditate, then I'll get out of the meditation and it'll feel like I was only gone for 10 minutes and like I was gone for 50 minutes.
Yeah. So I don't know how long we were laying in the sun, but this sweet girl that I met, Jocelyn, she was laying next to me, and when we sat up from the meditation, she was redder than me, so I gave her my hat. And I was like, you want to wear my shawl? Because she was getting so red. But then you're just in such like happiness and bliss and like all these like-minded people, and then we did this dancing ceremony, and just forget that the sun is just doing it. And then when I would remember that my skin was like so red, and I'm pretty like tan as it is, I was just like saying like, well, this is what the sun god wants me to have right now, this beautiful sunburn, so let's go for it.
Well, yeah, it's better to just embrace it instead of feel bad about. And then you can also again call upon your team of light or Raphael, Archangel Raphael, and say, okay, I have the sunburn now. Nothing we can do about it, but please assist in healing the sunburn and giving me the like no side effects, no pain from the sunburn, and let this heal quickly. Yeah. I do that all the time with little things.
It was amazing. Like one day I would get in the shower and it would hurt, because the water was hot.
Yeah.
And then like the next day I was fine. And everyone was like, oh, you're going to be in so much pain 2 days later. And I wasn't. My skin was really red, but it was fine.
That's the thing too. I know this is getting kind of long. We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes, but that's one last story that I kind of want to share.
Oh yeah.
I had Lyme's disease a few years ago. I got a tick bite.
Oh my goodness.
And so a few weeks later I got a fever. My whole body was sore. All my muscles were sore. Like imagine the worst flu you've had with all your your limbs, all muscles just hurting. And that's how I felt. And I couldn't even like walk or ride my bike because everything hurt. I didn't have any energy in my limbs. So I went to the doctor, and they tested my blood, and there was Lyme's disease in my blood. So yeah, I did the antibiotics. I did do that, but because I didn't want to have chronic Lyme's, I started working with Archangel Raphael and Zadkiel, I think it's pronounced. And that's for transmuting negativity. So every day, multiple times a day, I would call upon the archangels and I would ask them to transmute the negativity, to release all the stuff that I didn't need to heal my body from Lyme's disease. And I kept telling myself, and while working with the archangels, I am healthy, my body is healthy, I don't have any Lyme's disease. Well, I didn't use the term disease because I didn't want to identify with Lyme's disease. So I said
Yeah.
I am healthy, my body is in perfect shape, I have no pain, I have a lot of energy, even though it wasn't true because I was feeling pain, I didn't have any energy. But after a week or two, I started feeling a lot better, and I went to the doctor, got my blood tested, and they couldn't find any Lyme's disease anymore. And then they said, okay, maybe it will come back in a year, because Lyme's disease apparently often does that. It'll return a year later, and you'll get the symptoms again, but it never came back, it never returned. So
Wow.
working
And
with
a lot
angels.
of people suffer from Lyme disease, like really suffer because they don't even like know what it is.
Yeah.
Isn't that the disease that really affects people
Yeah.
and they can't even pinpoint it?
Yeah, it's because a lot of times, well, you can get it from tick bites or spider bites too. But most people notice it when it's too late. Like when they had a tick bite, but the tick fell off or something, so they never knew in the first place that they got bit by a tick. And then they get all the symptoms, and then they go to the doctor, and then they find out when it's already like too late. But
Oh yeah.
but I think you can still reverse it because I actually know a guy. What's his name again? Anyway, a guy here. He's a druid. He has all kinds of. He works with a lot of like deities and elementals, like nature elementals. He got Lyme's disease because he spends all his time in the forest. So he got Lyme's disease, but he got it really bad. Like he was like chained to his bed for months. Even
Oh, man.
even he said the Wi-Fi signal, he felt the Wi-Fi signal, and it was hurting him, like his nervous system and all kinds of stuff. And he was able to heal himself from Lyme's disease too.
Wow.
But probably also because he's so connected to nature, to spirit, he was able to heal it. And yeah, but that's something for an entirely. We can do a whole episode about self healing with angels, and yeah, we can do a whole, because it's already, we've been recording for an hour and 20 minutes, so maybe we should kind of wrap it up for now.
Yeah.
And because we can keep on talking. I know we can talk
I
for
know,
hours.
because I was just gonna tell you that a baby, like a sack of baby spiders, hatched in my room.
Ugh.
What do you think about that?
Well,
Yeah.
the spider is also a spirit animal for mysticism and intuition.
So this is what happened. I have to tell you because I brought it up.
Yeah.
It was a little bit before we got on the phone, and Jared was sleeping in the room, so I was trying to be quiet and not have the light on. And I went down like on my hands and knees to grab something on the ground, and there was just a spider web.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a weird spot for a spider web to be. And then when I turned on the light, you could see them coming from the fan, from the little pulley things on the fan, all the way down to the ground. And then there was some of them on me. So I took them and I put them outside, and I was like, I'm sorry, you guys just all can't live in here. It's too much.
Okay, yeah, the spider, the spirit animal spider basically comes into your life because it's about intuition and manifestation. So all like and the baby spiders basically, to me, that's what I'm getting right now intuitively. They're all your ideas and wishes, all the stuff that you've been downloading from the Lionsgate, all this stuff, all these creative ideas. The little spiders represent all the little ideas, and you want to bring all of those into reality. And the spider is there to remind you that you make your own destiny, you control your own reality. Trust your intuition. That's what the spider stands for. Trust your intuition, and trust all these ideas that you're getting, and you can like feed all these little ideas a little bit at a time, nurture them. Like you put the little spiders outside, you're helping them. So do that for yourself, and that's what I'm getting. The spider was there to tell you that you have all these ideas, and you create your own reality, and this is a great time for you to do that. That's what I'm getting.
I'm loving that. Well, because it's funny, because like maybe 2 months ago, if that would have happened to me, I would have been freaking out. I would have been so like, oh my god, and like batting everything down and like killing them on my arm, because there was like a few crawling on my arm because I like walked right into it, But this time I was just like, man, hey guys, you guys can't really live in my room, but
yeah, I do that all the time. But in our little circle that we're in on Facebook, we joke about that. We had another friend of ours, Jamise, who had some kind of situation with a bunch of bugs, and she posted the video of like when she noticed all the bugs around her, and she freaked out, and it was hilarious. But and then so
I can't wait to I'm gonna tell her about that. She's gonna be like, what?
Yeah, she would have freaked out and ran. But yeah, so and I learned a while ago, a few years ago, I learned, okay, if an animal or a bug enters my reality, it's a messenger, and it has a message for me, and I have to try to decipher what is the message that you're trying. And the funny thing is, I know I keep going from one thing to the other. Before the dog incident, before my dog ran off and like abruptly told me to stop what I'm doing, we had this whole family of snails that migrated into our laundry room. And for those listening, so we took care of the snails for a little bit because one of them was injured, and then we put them back outside where they belonged. But the snail spirit animal is also when you have snails come into your life, they're basically telling you to take it easier, to be slow. You'll reach your goal, but just don't rush into anything. You have time. You can be a little bit slower. It's still going to work out. Give yourself time to be slow.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing that I was going to tell you, and I'm just going to say it real quick. That lady, Claudette from Sky Astrology.
Yeah.
It's like Sky Astrology. On Instagram, she goes off of the 13 signs and all of the not all of the constellations. I don't know all the constellations, but she does your chart with Orion's belt in it, with the 13 sign. I don't even know how to pronounce it, to be honest. Do you remember what it's called? It's like, I'm not even gonna try. I'm so bad at pronouncing things. But anyways, and then there was something else. Oh, and then this constellation called Satis that is between Pisces and Aries. Anyways, it was very interesting, like all that stuff like that she was bringing to my attention. And if anybody's interested in checking her out, I would totally recommend it, because I obviously do Western astrology, and I have been studying Western astrology, and now I'm starting to see this Western astrology as something that is kind of ego-based and Western-minded. And the way that Claudette looks at it feels very higher self, and it does change everything about your like the way that you see yourself. And so I'm also like been going through that for the last week.
Yeah, it's all connected to
that new information.
Yeah, you're getting these downloads, and then you're getting this information from this other person. So it's and then you're like putting all the pieces of the puzzle together in your mind. So and it's all connected probably for you.
Yeah, and the way I found her was very it's like through synchronicities. Of course, that's always how it happens. You just go to this site, and then you go to this site, and then you find something, and then you see somebody writing some article that looks like, like, oh my God, that happened to me too, or that's how I see something. And then we start vibing, and then you see like, wow, that's another way that you can kind of look at like the taking down of all the old structures. Even, I'm not saying we're taking down that it's taking down Western astrology, but it's a shift. It's an evolution in the way we can see ourselves, in a higher way.
Yeah.
And I think that,
interesting.
Yeah, I can try to end on that, just like seeing ourselves in a higher way,
Yeah, we definitely have to talk about that more. Maybe in the next episode we'll like go into that in more detail, because I feel like that
one more
deserves
conversation
more.
That I get to have with her where we talk about aspects. But I mean, like, there was some points when she was talking through the chart from her perspective and the way she does things, and I was just crying, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about that. We We're gonna have to dedicate an entire episode to that. I feel because that, like, the little bit we talked about it now isn't nearly enough. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely do a whole like once you've integrated all of that, because you're probably still integrating all of that on a personal level. Like in a few weeks we will do a whole episode on
Yeah.
astrology
We'll
and
have to get through this Lionsgate.
yeah. I think that we've talked about a lot today. I think it's time that we kind of wrap it up and let people that have listened integrate, because I'm sure that some of you guys listening will need to integrate some of the information because you're resonating with it, because you've experienced some of the stuff that we've talked about during this last hour and a half. So, yeah, maybe we'll just sign off for now and yeah, we'll see everyone or hear everyone next time with
Yeah.
another we always have stuff to talk about, so we'll be back with another really interesting topic next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh. That's it for this week. I am so glad that you decided to tune in and join us for this really long episode, but I know that if you listened to the end that it will have been worth it and you hopefully got a lot out of it. I know that we got a lot out of this episode, so I hope that it was as valuable to you as it was to us. You can connect with Mena from Honing Your Reality and her high vibe content on her social media. All details will be mentioned below in the description box. I'd love it if you commented so we can keep the conversation going and we can keep talking about all these ascension related topics. If you want to stay up to date on all the podcast episodes, go to anchor.fm/mystical tea time. You can find all available podcast links there, and you can also subscribe on YouTube, and we will see you next time. Bye.